In these problems, we're dealing with powers and exponents. And you probably know how to do this one. It says simplify 3 squared, or 3 to the second power. And you probably know that when you square something, it means you multiply it by itself. So 3 squared is 3 times 3, and that's going to equal 9. So pretty easy problem. This thing here, this number to a power, there's some names of the pieces here. So the number itself is called the base. And it's the lower down thing, so it makes sense to call it a base. And this thing, the number, the power that you raise it to, is called the exponent. The exponent tells you how many times to multiply the base by itself. So if you had 3 to the third power, sometimes we call that 3 cubed, it would just be 3 times 3 times 3. So the exponent telling you how many times to multiply 3 by itself, and that would be 27. So that's the basic idea. Let's look at a few more problems. This one tells us to write as a power 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Well, the thing you're multiplying is the base. So our base is 3. The exponent is how many times you multiply it by itself. And here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 3 to the 5th power. Let's look at one more. So this one says, which of the following can be written as 3 times 3 times 3 times 10 times 10? So we've kind of got 2 exponent problems here. The first one you could think of as just 3 times 3 times 3. That is just like we did up here. That's 3 cubed. So we could write that as 3 cubed. And then we have our multiplication symbol in here. And now we have 10 times 10. Well, that is 10 squared. 10 is the base. The exponent is 2 because we're multiplying it by itself 2 times. So this is 3 cubed times 10 squared, which is choice D right there. All right, let's try an extra tricky one to finish here. This says to simplify negative 1/4 to the 4th power. What do we do here? Well, really, our base is negative 1/4. Our exponent tells us to multiply it by itself 4 times. So we could rewrite this as negative 1/4 times negative 1/4 times negative 1/4 times negative 1/4. And if you do the multiplication across the top, let's say our negative signs are on the top, negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1, all of that's going to be a positive 1. There's an even number of negative signs, so you know your answer is going to be positive. And in fact, anytime you take a negative number to an even power, the result is positive. If you take a negative number to an odd power, the result is negative. And then if we multiply across the bottom, 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, you can plug that in your calculator, that's 256. So our answer is going to be a positive 1 over 256. That's one way to do it. Another way, it's pretty close to the same thing, is you can just take this power and apply it to each part of this. So if I take the 4th power and I kind of apply it to the negative sign, I know it's an even power, so the result is going to be positive. That's the first step. Then, in my fraction, I take the 4th power and apply it to the 1 on top first. So 1 to the 4th power is just 1, because 1 to any power is 1. And then 4 to the 4th power, well, I could plug that in my calculator, and it comes out as 256. So if that method seems like a better shortcut for you, go ahead and try it. If it helps to write it out like this, that's okay too. So that is some work with powers and exponents.